Hi, welcome to Comic Talk. I'm Josh.
And I'm still doing a little soul searching, I'm not really sure who I am right now.
Oh man, one day you'll figure it out.
I hope so.
This is our weekly pull list review. This is for January 6th. This is a Wednesday. And this week we've got 6 titles, so we better get going. We've got Archie number 5, The Fade Out number 12, Paper Girls number 4, Doctor Strange number 4, The Vision number 3, and Sheriff of Babylon number 2. So let's start off with Archie. This is by Mark Waid and Veronica Fish. I'm not convinced that's a real name.
His friend's trying to get him to leave his mean old lady.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I liked it.
I liked it too.
It took him forever to tell the damn centipede joke.
I really liked that.
Yeah, it was a clever device. The punchline is exactly the kind of punchline that I was expecting it to be, but the build-up just made me want it to be funnier. But yeah, good book.
Yeah, I liked it quite a bit. I like the new artist that we have here. It's just a touch more back in the direction of like classic Archie, I felt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But in a cool way. Like it has its own thing going on. I thought it was pretty cool.
Almost reminiscent of, who's that Squirrel Girl lady?
Henderson,
yeah. Maybe like a touch of Henderson plus like a touch of Staples. Good mix of
yeah,
those two.
kind of mashed together.
Yeah.
She does some interesting. It might not be her, I guess. The colorer, Andre Zamenhouse. Oh my God, read it.
Semanowicz.
Yeah, that guy. Here, let's do this.
It's not a real word.
Over here, right there. That's not real.
No.
Okay, so anyhow, I really liked his coloring in this. It's got a little more subtlety to it. It makes it look a little more classic as compared to what we've had in the past. I don't know if he's a new color or if he's just taking a slightly different approach now because he's got the different artist. But I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, very tasteful.
Yeah. So the story itself, Mark Waid, how'd you feel about the writing on this one?
Oh, I'm always a Wade fan.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything I read of him that I disliked.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's yeah,
we
there was
can.
that Justice Inc. the Avenger.
Yeah.
But point is, it's all been so all over the place. Like I really wouldn't put for instance, this and then his Flash run in the same category at all ever.
Right.
But they're both amazing.
And they're both completely different from what he did while on Daredevil.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It just comes back to this method writer thing where he just gets into a headspace of a character and a feel and just goes for it.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And he does some really interesting stuff here. Like you said with the joke, let's get into that because I think that was kind of essential to this issue because we have this repeating motif where Archie is talking to us, the reader, in something that you don't see very often. I mean, you see that. We've seen it a little in Archie already. I think issue 2 had that a little bit in it, if I remember, somewhere back there.
Well, I think it's a fairly regular thing in small doses.
Yeah. We've seen it in a few times, but he really goes all in on it this time where he starts the book, hey, let me tell you a story, and then he tries to tell a joke and it keeps getting interrupted. So not only is he telling you a story, but he's actually talking to you in the middle of the story as it's happening, even though he's telling a past story. It's an interesting way of going about things that really livens it up.
Remember that movie SLC Punk, Salt Lake City Punk?
Yeah, it's very much like that. You're right.
It's weird when you go back and watch it. Like the main character isn't actually in like half of the scenes. It's insane. Like something will happen and then he'll pull out and do like the fourth wall thing. And it's like, were you even fucking there for this conversation?
Right.
I have no idea.
Right. It does feel a lot like that. That's a great comparison. And I also think he's doing a really good job of like branching these characters out and making them really robust in a way that I'm not so sure Archie had before. Maybe it did because it's been around for so long, but in just a few issues, we're really getting into these characters, and they're very three-dimensional people with good sides and bad sides, and Archie's also a really cool guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, they are very established characters, I would say, but the way in which Mark Waid portrays their sort of trademark things, like the hamburger thing, with Jughead and stuff, it's all really natural, it doesn't feel forced, like it's not like he brings up hamburgers just out of the fucking blue,
Right.
just because, he's the hamburger guy. Of course he's thinking about hamburgers.
Which is something we felt was a little bit of a problem with Jughead, with Chip Zdarsky writing that and just being a little too on the nose with it. And this, I think you're right, is a little more of a subtle representation of these characters. Subtlety is almost the key to this whole thing. Like it's strangely subtle in its characterizations, even though the storylines that they're in are almost cliche tropes that
and they're very strong
stumbling
characters
through.
at that.
Yeah, very cool. And also, I love this chapter thing that he's been doing, where we get chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3.
And then an epilogue. We got an epilogue.
Yeah, an epilogue. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
All in all, man, this comic still continues to be one of my favorites that we're reading. I love it. It's so interesting.
Yeah, guilty pleasure. Maybe not even a guilty. Well, it's
Not even guilty anymore. Just a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Read Archie. It's good. Talking about good stuff. Let's talk about the Fade Out. This is issue number 12. This is the last issue of this, which is kind of sad, but
It's tragic.
well, it's a tragic comic too. This is Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, if you didn't already know or you can't see, because I'm hold. Okay,
Tragedy has befallen the poll list. Totally has.
it has, but man, this issue kills it. This
does.
is so good.
So again, this is the last issue of this, wraps it up. The whole story kind of wraps up in this issue in pretty much the messiest way possible. I mean, even the things that are clean are kind of like a side step that's still pretty messy in its own right.
Right. I think we couldn't help but talk about this a little bit after we both read it, but we tried to keep it to a minimum. But I think we decided that it doesn't give you what you expect. Like this ending, especially what I would have expected, say, 2 issues ago, is not anything like what we get here. This completely sidesteps all of the normal like tropes and cliches that you would get in a story like this. But it still ties up all the ends. Everything's neatly put together at the end. We get, everything's finished. Like I don't feel like I needed another book, another issue or 2 to really get it all.
No, it doesn't feel rushed. Like you said, it's all there. It's perfect. In a lot of ways, it's like one of the most perfect books I've ever read, and that's really hard to articulate why. But just little things like the lipstick that ends up on his fingers being reminiscent of the blood on his hands, where he finally figures out what his problem is, and he doesn't think that it's alcoholism still.
Right. Yeah. And
I wouldn't change a thing about it.
And the way they tie up so many of these little threads that have been lingering and like some of this stuff I forgot even needed tied up. And it's still like, oh, hey, there's that thing.
Yeah.
That's what that was about 7 issues ago, or why they hung the gun back then. Like now it all makes sense. And I think we also were talking about how this needs... I can't believe this hasn't been optioned for a film yet. I mean, this is something I could see absolutely, like Leonardo DiCaprio as Charlie, kind of thing.
Easily.
It would be an incredible film or like a Netflix series. It would just be so good. Even like the ending, because this whole thing is a wrap up, but like the very end of this would make for an incredible ending of a film. There's been a few like indie comics. I mean, Southern Bastards got picked up for a movie, and like, I mean, that's a really good series and everything. But this just screams movie. Yeah.
I mean, everything about it. It's even set in like the Hollywood whatever,
right.
And Hollywood loves to make movies about themselves. So
Right.
it's perfect.
And even this last page has that slightly ambiguous thing happening, where you could almost confuse the casual audience, like, whoa, wait a second, right? I mean, it just feels like it was built for film, but that doesn't take anything away from it as a comic either. It's a
No.
really fantastic comic, and the way it's laid out works beautifully as a comic.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah.
I mean, every time an issue comes out, I can't stop gushing about it.
Yeah.
And now they're gonna stop coming out.
Yeah, that's it.
Forever.
But it's Brubaker and Phillips, so there's always other things.
They'll be on something else pretty soon.
Right.
Or maybe I'll finally read Fatale, because I've been meaning to.
Right, there's that.
Yeah.
I think they're bringing, what is that, Criminal?
Criminal?
I think they're bringing that back for its 10th anniversary, and they're going to do some new issues of that, so
Oh, cool.
that could be cool.
That one's already got like 7 or 8 trades as well.
Right, yeah, that's
So-
an old series they did a long time ago. One of the first things they did together back when he was like Catwoman and, doing that stuff.
Yeah.
So. Cool. Anything else here?
No.
No, if you haven't read this, go get the first trade. I think it's like $9 or something on Amazon. Go get that. Wait for the second one. It's Image. It's Brubaker. I guarantee the second trade will be out in a month or two. Pick it up when it comes out. It's probably maybe my top pick from like the last year.
Yeah,
Like 2015, the Fade Out is where it's at. This is
I would
incredible.
agree. It's my favorite book of 2015.
Yeah.
So there's your Pull List yearly review. This one's the top one.
Yeah, so do that. Let's talk about another Image title. This is Paper Girls number 4. This is Brian K. Vaughan, Cliff Chang, Matt Wilson, and Jared K. Fletcher.
The Paper Girls get probably maybe-ish fucked over by the alien ninja people that they apprehensively befriended in the previous issue.
Yeah, like with the previous 3, it's still not real clear what's going on. He's really pushing the mystery angle with this one.
Yeah, we know that the future, like, these things are from the future.
Right.
They don't like to use the phrase time traveler because it makes them seem like it's a vacation or something.
Yeah,
So there's some sort of...
Time tourists.
Right, time tourists.
Yeah, this has some really weird shit going on. I like where we're going with it, and I really like some of the stuff, like this 2 or 3 page spread that's... I'm going the wrong way. It's like one of these sideways things that I always think is cool, where she's really just hanging out and playing Breakout for like 3 pages. I really liked that. This floating Eye of the Beholder thing was kind of silly, but overall, I really like the characterizations in here, and I really like this. I know you're not as sold on it, right?
It's all right. I mean, again, we have a really strong pull, so if I had to pick, like, something that's not an 8 or 9 or 10 out of 10, like, I wouldn't say this is, like, within that range.
Yeah.
It's not that I dislike it, but it's just not, I don't think, the same caliber as, like, Fade Out.
I'm kind of with you. I maybe would put this at a solid 7. Like, most people's pull list, I think this would be a good, solid pull, just because it's different, has a different feel, and it's, by the way, it's $2.99, and it's easily the highest quality, like, printing book we get each month. There's no ads. They can't be making anything off of this. Like, there's no way. This paper is like... It's like the kind of stuff that, like, people print, like, invitations to nice events on. You know what I mean? Like, it's really thick and heavy and just a really beautiful printing. It's got, like, these pull-out posters. It's just really fucking cool stuff for $2.99. It blows anything else you can get for, like, $5 normally out of the water, just in terms of presentation value.
Quality and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you noticed that Brian K. Vaughan has a gay person in, like, every story? Well, everything that I'm aware of his.
Yeah.
Because in Why the Last Man, there was Agent 357 or whatever the hell it was. And then there was that guy in We Stand on Guard. And then there was the girl in Runaways. And,
Yeah, it does seem to
this
be
guy here.
a recurring theme with him. Private Eye, I think, even had a gay character or 2 in it. Yeah, I have noticed that. I think it's one of those things. him and Joss Whedon are kind of buddy, and Joss Whedon does the same thing. Like, he likes to put, like, gay characters and strong female.
Sure.
He considers himself a feminist. I wouldn't be surprised if Brian K. Vaughan does as well. Like, with everything I've read of his, there's always a lot of, like, female leads and gay characters and just, people of different racial profiles. Like, yeah, I've noticed that. I think it's probably a positive, really, considering how few gay people there are in comics.
Yeah. Just the fact that he does it in every book, I think maybe it seems a little bit gimmicky.
Right.
Like, this deep into it, it's like, okay, well, you had another one. I didn't see that coming, Brian K. Vaughan.
Right.
But again, it's one of those things where if more people did it, it wouldn't be such a thing to make a point to have it.
He probably wouldn't have to do it all the time, but he probably feels like he should because everybody else doesn't, that kind of thing. I assume. Cool. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah. I mean, it only bothers me to the extent that it's a little bit gimmicky, I feel like, for him.
Right. Just used to seeing it's like if every Jason Aaron title had a guy with a hammer, like, it'd be like, why do they all have hammers? Like, there's always a hammer guy. Like, yeah. And that, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? I like the art in this still. I think it's like this weird mixture of like Chris Bacalo's work in like Doctor Strange and some of the other new stuff that he's been doing, and like just your normal Image title. I think it's this cool like mix between the two that's pretty neat.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. That's a great segue. I totally did that on purpose. This is Doctor Strange number 4. This is Jason Aaron and Chris Bacalo.
Is there a guy with a hammer in this?
No, he has an axe.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's so different.
So magical things are disappearing and dying and stuff. The magic is disappearing out of books. And he ends up finding out why. He does.
Yeah, he does. We get some good advancement in what's going on, but mostly what we get here is we're just continuing to build the basic character of Doctor Strange. Who is he? Where did he come from? What we get flashbacks of the Ancient One training him.
We learn about his dietary problems and such, and what is it? The harder you punch, the more it hurts, or something like that.
Right. Yeah, and that's mostly what this focuses on. But with that, we do get great moments. We get incredible art. Like, this art continues to really
always. It's amazing.
I really enjoy looking through the pages. Like, as I read it, like, it's fun just to look at how it's illustrated. Not even as a story so much. The storytelling is good and the art too, but just the actual quality of the work itself is really cool. And the way he mixes a lot of different media in here is really neat. But,
yeah, I feel like this is probably a book that I would read for the artwork, even if the story wasn't that great. But thankfully, it's Jason Aaron doing quite well on that, so that's good.
And I think one thing that's really interesting about the art, while we're on that topic here, is this Chris Bacalo. He's not like a newcomer. Like, this art, you could look at this and think, oh, he must be like a new upstart kind of guy trying to make his name, But this guy's been like a major player in comics since the early 90s. He's been, he was drawn like the Avengers and shit, in X-Men, like when you and me were in like middle school.
Yeah, back before there was a film franchise.
Right? Yeah. So to see this guy now, after 20 plus years in the business, still doing like this really cool, interesting stuff that isn't just rote. Like, it doesn't seem like he's bored with it. Which is impressive.
It is impressive. I mean, I'm always impressed with people that make a point to try to keep it fresh, like no matter how deep they are into something, And such is like certainly the case with him. Yeah, I can tell he's really having fun on this title, which in turn makes me have more fun.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And then writing-wise, Jason Aaron, this particular issue is almost for me like Weird World level of writing. Like, I really like the introspective nature of everything that he's saying here. Like it's
There's a lot more verbose than your typical Weird World. Like Weird World, we get a couple really, really profound panels, and then just like a few pages of like people getting split with an axe after that,
Right.
which is awesome. But yeah, this is much more dense, but definitely more in that direction.
Yeah, cool stuff. Because the last few issues were pretty quippy, and this one still has a little bit of that, but it's just a bit more introspective for the character. You get a little more inside his head, and you get that flashback that was real, mystical, so.
Yeah, they even changed like the coloring on that, which, by the way, I like that the absence of coloring in the past scene.
Yeah, I did too.
It really sets it up. Even though it's in the beginning of the book, like I'm so used to opening it up and seeing all 256 colors or whatever, so to open it up and just see maybe one, and then black and white. It's like, oh, that's different.
Yeah, cool. And also the librarian is back, which I liked to see the return of that character. And actually, it feels like that character was set up for a reason to give us this stuff now down the line where she's now going to become kind of part of the team, which is cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so we have 2 more titles left. Two. And these are both Tom King titles. We're going to start off with The Vision, number 3. This is King Walta and Bel Air. Let me move my
look at that cover.
fingers because this cover's really
Super
great.
good.
So what do we have here on this one first?
Well, he's attempting to get his daughter functioning again, and out of her mother problem that she's having. And then there's some more scandals with the human neighbor units.
Right. This is such a weird book because it's about these non-humans, these robotic androids, but it's such a human, like intimate, delicate drama that they're telling here. We have like the father's sacrifice for his daughter and the mother and her sacrifices and how them trying to make this life is like really pulling at their family, right? In very like human kind of ways.
Yeah, we had talked before about it being like robots trying to understand a sitcom. And up to this point, that was just kind of like, pointing and laughing at the absurdity and stuff. But here you really see like things kind of weigh on them. Like you really start to feel for the robots that have to go through all these like human problems and have to deal with people. And people are shitty, and they don't understand the degrees of shittiness, in a way that people kind of expect them to. But should we really expect them to? And it's mindful.
It is. It's just such a thoughtful little story here. And we get this section with Tony Stark coming in and helping him get the daughter back up and going, where he has to perform like this goofy surgery with this weird, Marvel Universe science to it. And I like that they like explain the science, but not too much. And it's really, the point of it isn't, the cool sci-fi robot stuff. It's really this human moment where, he has to endure this pain for, the sake of his daughter. Just really powerful stuff. I feel more for these characters than I think I did for Charlie over in The Fade Out. And, he nailed Charlie in that. So that says a lot, I think.
Yeah, I also think it's just kind of the nature of the characters, whereas Charlie's problems are very self-induced. Yeah. They're really giving it their best, and I think that's why you feel for them, because they're just trying so hard, but it's hard.
Yeah. Well, and we get some really. There's just so many cool scenes in here. Also, what do you think of this side thing with the
cat and the witch?
Yeah, and the eating the thing twice out of the stomach and.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to make of that. I thought it was interesting. I don't really feel like it it almost seemed like it was just cut and pasted from like a different book.
Yeah.
Or something.
Well, yeah, and
So I
it's
don't know where they're really going with that.
it's this. It has a very different feel to the rest of the book, even though it still feels it feels less human and grounded than the androids do, right? Like it feels kind of otherworldly and strange, and non-empathetic. Like there's very little empathy there, whereas with the family we get these very touching moments. Also, how about like the robot sex thing? Wasn't that odd?
Yeah.
I really loved that, and how like he was having trouble explaining what was going on because his android wife is like stripping in front of him.
That's what he does. Like he just collects and recollects data and stuff, and that's what he was doing. And he was having trouble.
Yeah, great
accessing the database or whatever.
Right? He was being distracted. I think that did a lot for me to really humanize Vision himself for me.
Yeah,
good stuff. Anything else you want to say? What about the art here? How do you feel about it?
It's subtly creepy, which I like. I think the Cat Witch stuff was more overtly creepy. Again, I would believe it was just taken out of like a horror graphic novel or something. But
yeah, and it still has that exact same vibe that Walta has been going for in Bel Air, where it's like almost what you normally would expect from just a standard fare Marvel comic, but just a little off and a little softer, which is an interesting take because they're robot metal people, but in order I think to draw us in, they use this slightly softer palette with chalkier textures and softer lines. It's a clever way to soften them up a little.
Yeah, totally. It's a bit odd. Like Wolverine would be so shiny on these pages,
right?
But Vision's just muted.
Yeah. It's a cool effect. Cool. Well, let's talk about our final Tom King book. We picked this one up last month. We liked it quite a bit. But it's just so confusing. That first issue was really confusing. So this is issue number 2 of King and Garrod's work. And what's going on here? Did we get a cleaner story this time?
Sort of. They're investigating the murders that have been happening, and he's got an ally with the police now, but still a bit up in the air on like what exactly is happening.
Yeah, I think the larger story here is still just as mysterious, like what's going on with the lady with the scar across her face, how she ties into it exactly, and even really who this guy is.
Yeah.
Or really who either of them are. Either our lead guy, we know what he does just in general, but we don't know much about him, his past, what he's really like, and we definitely don't know anything about this Iraqi guy that he's running around with now. But that being said, this issue made a lot more sense to me in regards to the story being told in this issue, and I really liked this specific story that we're told here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did feel a lot more concise, which the other ones seem more like, again, just kind of like a shotgun splatter, like little bits here and there. This really just kind of follows 2 characters for the majority of it, which I thought was nice. And yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I don't know if I would call it breathtaking or give it a 10 out of 10 as Comic Book Resources and Newsrama did, according to the cover. But it was pretty good. Yeah.
I liked it a lot. I would give it a solid 8 or 9 out of 10 if I had to give it numbers. I really liked the characterizations. I really liked the Iraqi dude that he's running around with. Does he ever actually say this guy's name?
I don't think so.
I didn't catch it.
It was the fantastic characterization of that fellow.
Yeah, he really enjoyable, thorough, like thick character. Like he didn't feel like a cartoon characterization of like a foreigner or an Iraqi guy. Like I felt like he was a real person that fits into a more complicated world, and I really appreciate that in a book, especially one of this style,
And again, the girl with the scar across her face, we get kind of more an idea on her, and also just sort of the world that she inhabits now and the way that she views things and stuff. Like this scene where she's just sort of monologuing to her assistant, and she just keeps saying, yes, miss, no, miss, yes, miss.
Mm-hmm. And we also get a lot of interesting just insights into maybe how this kind of world works over there, or at least in the comic book version of this place. And just some really poignant stuff. Like I really liked the scene in the morgue or the military morgue, where he's telling them, oh look, the throat's cut this way, so it's not.
It can't be him.
It's not the same guy, and he's like, I could never tell that. And he's like, well, I couldn't either. Like I can just tell Iraqi people apart 'cause I'm from Iraq, but
Right.
you're stupid. That guy is not going to believe me. So
Yeah, everybody watches CSI.
yeah, so I just made up this thing about which direction it was cut. So I really liked that. And I thought that was a good way to make it a little less black and white. Like this guy is dealing with kind of a shitty situation. He's making the best of it as well.
Yeah, sure.
And man, it's so gruesome too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very gruesome. Both issues have been pretty gruesome so far.
And I also like the scene with her when she's talking about rigging those the bids for the contract.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's like, we just both bought 40% of each other's company, and then we both bid, and whoever wins, who cares? Like you win either way.
Right.
Pretty clever as well.
Sure. Yeah, so I would agree. Great characterizations, great world building. What did you think of the artwork?
I like this art quite a bit as well. I don't think they're not doing much real surprising with how they lay out the paneling or anything.
No, there's a couple cool things. Like here you can kind of see it's 3 panels in the middle, but it's all really one picture that they've just kind of split. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and we got a lot of that,
cool.
actually. He does that quite a bit in here. Real subtle use of paneling and artwork that can be easily overlooked if you're not paying attention just to how well laid out it really is. Mm-hmm. But also, I just like the visual style of it. I really...
The coloring is...
Yeah,
really
the coloring
great.
Especially. I think you're right. That's really what nails it here.
And here we have a shirtless fellow who's gotten a second chance Wednesdays
chance,
on Fox, so that's good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he was underwater. And now...
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
He is emerging from...
Because of the second chance.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe that's the second chance that he got.
Yeah, it is a bummer. It's like reading a DC book, isn't it? Like, is there any Twix ads in there anywhere?
Nick Lachey.
Nick Lachey. Grab a Twix right next to a guy getting shot in the head. His face eaten off by a cat.
Does it have to do with the Lazarus Pit?
It could be. Yeah, maybe that's Ra's al Ghul. Maybe that's what's going on there.
He looks a little bit young to be Ross.
Well, he just came out of the pit.
That's true. That's true. He
He's-
would look a little bit young
He's
to be
fresh.
Ross.
I think that pit is actually made of liquid Axe body spray.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
my
little
guess.
bit too deep of a blue to be actual water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's mouthwash. Anyhow, I liked this book quite a lot. Again, this is Vertigo. This is like the first new Vertigo thing in forever, so that's pretty cool.
Well, there's been some stuff. Like Suiciders has been going on for a while, and I think is it Burning Fields? I can't remember if that's Vertigo or not. But yeah, there's
I
been.
think you might be right.
Yeah, this is one of the first things that's interested me in a while from Vertigo.
Right,
So
right.
we'd say that.
Well, same difference, right?
Sure.
Yeah. If we don't like it, it doesn't matter.
doesn't, yeah.
It's not a thing.
IDW doesn't even. They haven't
Right.
filed for a business application yet.
Yeah, those fools. I think that pretty much wraps it up for me. I don't have much more to say about this one.
No.
I really like it, but it takes a certain kind of person to be into it. If you're not into like military drama, this is not going to be your thing, because that's all that we have here. It's
Sure. Yeah. I think this may be one of those trade ones as well.
this would be cool in trade. Yeah.
And I felt the same way about the Fade Out. It's like it would be great to wait for the trade, but it's so good that I don't want to wait for the trade, so I'm just gonna read it and deal with it, and maybe read it all again later. That's the whole thing.
Also at our local shop, this was sold out.
Yeah.
So I don't know how easy it'll be to get a hold of this if you didn't read the first issue. Keep your eye out for the trade, but it's fucking Vertigo, which means it's DC, so
In another year.
enjoy reading this in 2017 when it's they finally bother to make a trade of it. Maybe since it's Vertigo, they'll do the trade sooner.
Maybe.
I doubt it. Okay, so I think that's going to wrap it up for us, you think?
Yeah.
All right.
I do
Well,
think.
you can check us out down below where we have our Facebook and Twitter, or actually we even have a Tumblr link down there now if that's your thing. I don't know what their thing is, but
You guys have things, right?
you know, it's an option. You know, so that's cool. We also have a Reddit page.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, our
All over
comic
the place.
our comic talk. So that's cool. So you could do that. So there's all sorts of ways to keep track of us. Or since you're on YouTube, you might want to just subscribe. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm cool.
Do that. There's a little button down there. I don't know. You might be new to YouTube. If you've never been here before, there's a button that says subscribe. It's red.
All right.
You can click on that thing.
Yeah. Cool.